Hello, I am not proficient at this. This is my first time doing any commentary, really. So if I am stupid, if I talk way too slowly, you'll see I talk very slowly based on how many cuts there are. Listen, it's my first time, okay? Just cut me a little bit of slack. Whenever these new characters show up, I feel like everyone always talks about the gameplay and moves on, or has nothing but praise for the designs. I think it's hard to find people who are really critical of what they're seeing. So I thought I would try my hand at that because I am an aspiring character designer. I want to be proficient in character design. So I want to see what these character designs do wrong and what they do right, instead of just looking at the rights.
Demonio, go back to hell!
So there's a significant time skip between when I did the first few in Vendetta. Oh wait, sorry, this is... I had a few extra thoughts I had that I kind of wanted to expand upon. Oh, wait, this is... So I thought I would get to that after sharing my thoughts about Vendetta. This is Vendetta, right? Vendetta. She is, about what you expect from whatever they got going on. Just, like, man, we're just gonna get showing off way more skin than would be recommended for battle, and very well done hairdos. She's got red eyes. I don't know, Junker Queen again. Are you just a Junker Queen? You're just a little Junker Queen? Can I not check out your thing? Yeah, okay. No, you can't check out the weapon. I mean, I guess you can. This. The weapon... I mean, you could complain that it's a giant sword, but Reinhardt has a giant hammer. We're not exactly out of the realm of huge melee weapons, unfortunately. As much as I want to complain about this one, it's not that outlandish. I guess we'll see how it plays to determine that. But from what I see here, this is just a big sword. If I had to make a complaint about this, I just think she would look cooler if she had clothes. I think limiting yourself to only covering certain parts of the body kinda ruins a lot of cool ideas that you could have. It's just plastered onto a base model. Not that this was exclusively made for this character. That was so boring! You didn't even try. What? That's the worst one yet. That was just like the weakest thing I've ever seen in my life. It had less personality than Freja, which I didn't even know was possible. She at least, like, looks down. That's crazy that looking down is somehow a step up from what I just witnessed. I'm not sure how else you'd fit a giant sword on the screen. That idol is terrible. But all of them have been ever since, I'd say Hazard. They just do kind of like a shuffle that isn't unique to them in any way. Because Freya does this, Wuyang does this, even though I didn't even talk about it. Because that's how nothing it was. It doesn't say anything about them. And I hope this is just a little quirk of early release. You can see her tweening between her poses. It's not smooth. I can't believe I'm seeing this. She kind of walks like a Reinhardt. That's how you would walk with a giant sword, I guess. Although it doesn't... Her sound doesn't really match what's happening on the screen. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's okay. I don't know. The first two swings don't feel good, and then the third swing takes way too long. The first two hits don't feel satisfying at all. Genji's sword has a lot better swing sound effects. They should have taken notes from that. She punches with her hand. Oh, that was awful. That was hideous. Whoa. No, that's really bad. Why? Oh, that's so bad. There's no wind up. There's no follow through. She just hovers at the person. She just hovers. That doesn't feel satisfying either. None of this feels satisfying. Like that could have been so much punchier hitting that wall. There's like barely any sound effects. None of her kit feels satisfying, and it's because of the animations. Like, I'm sure it plays really good. I'm sure doing this little jump is fun. I'm sure she'll need the block. It's just really ugly. It's like surprisingly ugly for Overwatch. Look, I'm just giving my criticism on what I'm seeing right now. I'm sure it's gonna change. I'm sure they're gonna finalize this. This is just like a test build. She got a lot of jumpy camera. I don't know why she got a lot of jumpy camera. It just kind of like swaps view very quickly. They really gotta put one of those, or is there one over here and I'm just stupid? I'm just stupid. Okay, never mind. Why does the effect go away? It's like, oh, done charging now. Okay, fine. Let's listen to it with voice lines.
Arriva la punizione! Double lethal cleave.
She doesn't sound how she looks. Not gonna lie. She definitely should have looked more bloodthirsty.
I claim.
Which is crazy. She has, as much as I was ragging on it, she has good voice acting. She sounds amazing. I love growly voices. I love that she sounds very angry at all times. And I was kind of hoping we'd get one of those soon. I was like, we should just get someone that really wants to kill. Someone that wants to fight. Someone that's actually there for the fight. She sounds like that? But what is this face, man? You look so default. You could have looked angry. You could have looked cool. But we gotta make you conventionally attractive. Conventionally attractive, specifically. That's gonna hurt the character design so bad. If you're just focusing on that, just make her look angry. Make her look disgruntled. But no, she's got the Freya face. The Freya face with a slight smile. She's not even happy in any of her interactions, as far as I heard. Why are you smiling like that? Okay, that was like the first positive interactions she's had.
You are worthless.
Dude, she sounds so much cooler than she looks.
Kneel before Vendetta.
She sounds so cool! So I feel like she should glow a little more during this. I really hope they fix some of these issues before release. Because she absolutely could be cool. She could be a really interesting character to look at. It's just right now, there's so many things they did weird. She's right on the cusp. She just needs to make that little push forward to be an interesting character design. As far as her character, this is one of the things I said should happen. Someone should take up the mantle. Someone should be an heir to the throne. Because that would fit the story. It wouldn't ruin anything. Especially if the character isn't like in the way. I think it was Antonio. Correct me if I'm wrong. Antonio didn't really have, like, a well-established position. I don't really care about this character showing up out of nowhere. It's fine. It works. And it works for an angry character, because her dad's kind of dead. And it's kind of, like, it's actually someone's fault. It wasn't supposed to happen. So she has the right to get angry. She has the right to swing that sword at people. Especially the people that did kill him. Yeah? Those 4 people split into Overwatch and Talon, so I don't know what side she's gonna be on. Do I really care? Look, I think she'd be a great side character. This is kind of one of the first characters, fully Overwatch 2, that don't really obstruct the story in any way. This is a step up. And I hope we keep going this direction, but I'll give this one the benefit of the doubt. I'm interested to see where it goes. Your neck is so weird. Oh, I didn't notice that. Giraffe neck. What's going on with that? Whoa. Anyway.
Six, seven.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water.
Wuyang. Wuyang? Water wizard. He sure is a character. It's a lot of character there. Psych! I can say, for 100% certainty, he is just the stereotypical quirky guy.
Wish I remembered Shifu's battle advice about now. Shouldn't have slept through his classes.
You're alone on a planet with no hope of survival.
There's absolutely nothing to this guy. This right here? All this? This is this. That's insane. And I don't even want to start with this. I mean, come on. How many times? You know, I feel like it wasn't too long ago when we actually had real characters, like people that felt like they existed, instead of, I'm gonna make a water joke again. Anyone feeling thirsty?
You know what they say? Just go with the flow. This'll be smooth sailing. I'm feeling right as rain. Anyone thirsty? Ride the wave! Here comes a big one! Drowning him out! I'll rinse you off! Flash flood! Hope you brought a change of clothes!
Capture the objective.
It's easier when the ball's made of water. In with a splash! Cascade it!
It's not just a thing with him either. I guess it's kind of been like on a steep decline ever since. Let's see here. Mauga. But Mauga was already, like, existing. That doesn't really count, I guess. Does Sojourn have a character? Echo is literally just a parrot. Since Sigma, really. We haven't had someone that talks normally. And he's a crazy guy. He's the craziest guy. Look, he's got a dictator skin. Like, basically all the Overwatch 2 characters. I know, different writers, no one really cares about the whole making a believable world anymore. Ramatra too. Ramatra doesn't count. He's green. Kratos Freja. About the design itself, I mean, it's fine. There's nothing that really stands out as, like, bad. He kinda looks like Kirika, though. Dude, he's literally just Kirika. Just male Kirika. And I guess that's kind of expected because of this. Like, everyone's gonna look like this now. Everyone's gonna look like either this or this. Because they need to be profitable. They need to have cool skins. Cool legendary skins. Cool legendary skins with stomach. And when I thought of doing this, like before the character came out, I was like, huh. They finally added a guy that has a shirt on. Wow. Look at that. An actual shirt. There hasn't been one before in Overwatch 2. And then, you know. Come on, get out here, mustard hair. Mustard hair. Mustard hair, you put mustard in your hair. The design-wise, he's not, like, offensive or anything. About standard for what Overwatch 2 character designers can do, I guess. The staff being red is kind of weird. Blue and red together only works if you do it correctly. I think this is too contrasty. It looks like a custom weapon. All that really needs to be changed is the color. But I'm interested in a little thing called storytelling, especially with character design. Literally, what am I supposed to glean off of this? He is a wizard. Ah, healing technology, huh? Why is it water, though? Because you want it to be cool? I know the other person is a firebender. Is it healing fire? I don't think so. Why would water heal? Wuyang University's Water College. Uh-huh. This is surely technology. It's so technological. Look at how technology it is. Yeah, all that technology. Yep. While I'm on this, I'm also very passionate about how the characters hold themselves in the first person. This is Wuyang. You're not just the gun, you know? You're not some random soldier. With him, they've decided to take all of his features and throw them to the right. I mean, I guess I understand, because this is how he stands. This is not how he stands. What? Anyway, the point I was trying to make is... You've already seen this, but it's so awkward, in my opinion, for him to have his hand over the staff like this, and swipe across the screen to cover, what, like 10% of your view, and it's not even useful information. Maybe the glowing. The glowing at most is the useful information. And then he does the swipe back, which moves your entire screen, by the way. Ever so slightly. Yeah, it just boggles my mind. Who did this? Who did this to you, buddy? And the reload? Don't even get me started about that. Look at this. Sorry, guys. I gotta re-water real quick. Alright, I'm re-watered. Whatever. This is getting too off topic. You could look at all of his voice lines, and I guarantee 80% of them have a water reference. He has to say something about water, or else he will die. It's like Spoink, but this water is his pearl. And sure, older characters had gimmicks. This is definitely not a new thing. Like May. May's whole thing is ice. But she talks about other stuff, at least. Junkrat's entire existence is bombs, but most of the time he's just trying to connect with people. I mean, Bastion. I don't think Bastion should have an opinion. Like this guy's up to something. Especially the bird. Mostly the bird. Now, it's easy to just, like, say this is garbage and move on. But what would someone do if they wanted to make this actually fit? If we're gonna make nanobots a thing, this could be the nanobot guy. Look, I don't have a problem with nanobots. I just thought Ramantra wouldn't be the one using them. I thought Ramantra would be relying on himself more. This guy looks like he would rely on nanobots. You could just have the healing thing be some kind of energy. I don't care about the staff. The staff is fine. Lots of characters have unconventional weapons. His wave could be nanobot, whatever, healing thing. And that would actually make sense that it only heals your teammates and hits enemies. I don't think he should get rid of any of his athletic gear. It's a nice look. And it fits for him because he is, you know, training all the time. Maybe a little bit more armor would be nice. He's just got armor on this hand, which I guess is supposed to be his water magic. Another thing I didn't talk about, which I kind of pointed out anyway, he's not wearing anything on these fingers. You know, the fingers that glow when he shoots his water. So there's no real explanation as to why those glow. All you had to do was cover those fingers. Actually, that would have even looked cooler, in my opinion. And I don't see the practicality of having the arms out. At least, like, cover them with something. Have a full shirt, man. I know the male Overwatch 2 characters are allergic to shirts, but please. It hinders what could be really great character designs. You exclude parts of what could tell the character for you in favor of a certain kind of appeal. I'm not sure water would fit at all, genuinely. I mean, this is kind of like a whole technology-based... That's something I haven't talked about. This is clearly magic. He's literally a magic man. He's a magic man. In a very cemented, technology-based world. The entire point of this universe existing is that technology is at the forefront. There was no magic. Absolutely no magic. And that was emphasized at every point possible. Except for him, but him being the exception was the interesting thing about it. And also, we have no idea what the iris is. We have no idea if he's magically floating or if he has some kind of technology that allows him to do this. All we know is that the iris, and the iris was cool. The iris was the only thing remotely close to magic. Before, whoop-de-doo, change up all the writers, now we got Kiriko. I'm sure lots of people don't care that he is a water wizard. It's like, whatever, this is a fictional world. What's wrong with adding water wizard? When everyone's mysteriously magical, nobody is. This is just another mysteriously magical guy. If we just put magic on everyone, then it's just magic. Then we're just playing another fantasy game. The whole intrigue, the entire appeal of this game was technology. Look at all the technology. All of these are technology, except for the new guys. You're just calling it technology when it's clearly magic. This has been a problem since the beginning of Overwatch 2. It's never gonna change. I can accept that. I can still complain about it. I can still think it's garbage. I can still think you had something, and you turned it into everything else that already exists. And that's only half of what I wanted to talk about. This is just his character design. There's a whole concept of a guy under there. So let's look at the concept, shall we? So he and his sister get invitations to Overwatch, and there's no more words on this page. And correct me if I'm wrong, these invitation things were never a thing. Only Baldric got one. And it might be personal bias, but I might feel like him getting one for no reason kinda negates all the emotional impact of Reinhardt having one and setting it down. Because, like, wow, this is special. This marks a moment in history. But no. Actually, 30, more than 30, probably like 100 people have these. They probably have them in their attics, collecting dust. They probably sold them off to pawn shops. Just an antique coin at this point. And this was only decided because of this trailer. Not only that, Baldric got his, like, at minimum 30 years ago? 30 to 40, probably. What would possess them to start doing it again? You're telling me they're doing it again for this one particular guy that is studying water magic? And this also raises a good point. Speaking of the water magic, I know we keep coming back to the water magic, but this is actually like a very big point in the destruction of immersion. This is a very no-no. So if he is studying at water college with his why is this fire sister at the water college? The water college is established, which implies people have been doing this for Like a generation, at least a generation or two. Where were the water magic guys during the Omnic Crisis? Where were the fire magic guys during the Omnic Crisis? That's two of their biggest weaknesses right there. Fire and water. Overheating and short-circuiting. You just blast water into a little bullet hole, thing's dead. Wee. He's too young. He wouldn't have been there during the Omnic Crisis. But his father would have been. His mother? Whoever spawned him. His mentor. His mentor's mentor. There's so many people that could have been there. And were not. Anyway, if they're being serious that his sister is gonna be another hero, this marks the 4th and 5th character in a row to just exist, with barely any connections. Almost no connections whatsoever. And the invitation implies they'll be shoehorned into further or existed projects, which is greatly worrying. Anyway, there's literally nothing to this guy. He is the water guy. He's established himself as the water guy, and that's all he'll ever be.
Widowmaker here.
This is such a nothing. This is a nothing. At least with Wuyang, there was like things to say. What do you say about this? What in this character design tells me who she is? Well, she's a bounty hunter. I know that because I consume media like a good consumer. But other than that, you can't really tell anything about her. She's standing in a default pose. She is a default. This is a person. Also, I don't know if it was ever stated how she flies. I'm gonna guess it's also magic, because that's all they can ever think of anymore. I don't mind the cape. I think the cape is a cool idea. The way it opens up when she flies around. That's the most something you're gonna get out of her, though. I mean, obviously, she's using a crossbow because it's cool. Because regular gun, not cool. Super high-tech crossbow, cool, yes. But wouldn't she kind of be, like, really easy to find and track down if she's the only person in the entire world using these kinds of weapons? They track down Sojourn just based off of the rail shot. If you find someone dead with a huge arrow lodged in their skull, they're gonna be like, I wonder who did it. Suspiciously crossbow wielding woman in the corner. Yeah, it could have been anyone. And you can make the excuse of, oh, she can get away. She's really fast. She's really stealthy. First off, glowing cape. Second off, if Sombra can get caught, anyone can get caught. I don't really have a problem with this because there is no character to tarnish. She really is just bounty hunter. And that's all she needs to be, I suppose. This looks a little weird. I feel like it would make more sense if it went to the center. But maybe that's just me. I don't even know if there's a soul in there. There's just nothing there. She exists. The end. Between recording these, I did read the lore on Freya. I didn't really talk about her story because I didn't know it. I didn't know she had a story. It's kind of surprising, but it doesn't change anything. She's still a nothing. I understand her story, but it's done. There's no story left to be had. She kind of finished it. She's at the end of her development. This is her. From now until forever. What change is there to be made? She's succeeding as a bounty hunter. She doesn't want to change professions. This is her passion. It's kind of like she went off on her own adventure, and then she became a character after the adventure was finished. That's like the opposite of interesting. You can't expect anything from her now. What is there to expect? Hazard. I really, really hate this guy. I think he's fun. I think he's awesome to play sometimes. But he is disgusting. The hairstyle, it's just, if you look at something too closely, you'll just realize how disgusting it is. The things on his head, what's the point of that? The hair, the back of his head, the gun arm is blue. I don't know why half of this is blue. He's supposed to be a purple guy. He's got weird things under his eyes. Okay, let's just look at this design as a whole. He is very tankish. He looks like a tank. I think the spikes on the back are a cool idea. The shoes are cool, and that's it. Look, the pieces are there, but they're put together like some weird amalgamation. His silhouette says absolutely nothing about him, unless he's practicing to be a goalie. And for a guy that talks a lot, and I mean a lot, about scars, there sure ain't a lot on there. In fact, I see 0, but it's all he ever talks about. The spikes on the back are cool on paper, but when he goes and does this, which is like the only use of his spikes, it doesn't make sense. Bam. Okay. And one of my biggest complaints about this guy is the gun. I gotta say. The gun? Where is Hazard? Where is he? That gun is not Hazard. That's just gun. This could be an Orisa skin for all I know. In fact, none of the things he has look like something he would use. First off, this gun. And like I was saying before, his whole thing is purple. Why blue? Why you blue? What is wrong with you? And not just the gun either, it's the way the gun is held in place. Look, even the micro adjustments. What about that screams Hazard to you? The only Hazard-like thing is that his gun is moving a little bit up and down. Otherwise, this could just be a robot, like a null sector guy, and we would never know. If you removed all knowledge of Hazard, who could this be? Never mind. I was gonna defend that, but there's just no hope. Second, this weird stabby thing on his arm. Now, I don't think it's wrong for him to have a stabby thing. I think he would. That fits a character like him. What doesn't is how intricate it is. This looks like the blade of an assassin. This looks like a blade of someone who actually takes care of their things, and not a guy who is known to be reckless.
I'd say be careful, but...
You know that's not my style.
In fact, if you look at anything on Hazard, it looks well taken care of. It's an antithesis of who he is. And that's all you can see of him. And listen, if any guy on the roster were to have piercings, it would be this guy. I think the piercings are sick. I do not think the blue, he just has blue on his face, blue TM. It's just blue. Why? Why are you there?
Why are you blue?
He stole Sigma's eyebrows. I do not think the Sigma eyebrows are good. I think they're hideous. I don't think they would look that well shaped if he got into numerous fistfights, or gunfights, or stab fights. Heck, I don't think he'd even have both of his eyes or all of his teeth. I don't think he'd have a perfectly symmetrical chest. If he wanted to talk about scars and all that, you could just make it asymmetrical and be like, I had to put cybernetics here to survive. And again, as I was saying, in this game about guns and war, here's another bare-chested man. All the male characters are not physically able to wear shirts. He just looked in the same direction 3 times in a row. I don't know what's up with him. There's nothing over there. I think these character intros are very important because first impressions are important. For all intents and purposes, this is a fine intro. But it's just fine. All you get off of this is that he has spikes. And a stab. And it would be fine if this wasn't a game about the characters. One of the biggest things that pulled most people in were the characters themselves. And they always used to have quirks about them. Quirky. But no, like actual quirks. Like something that shows that this person is them. No one else can be them. If Hazard didn't steal that stupid... Get him off my screen. If Hazard didn't steal that stupid spiky thing, someone else could have, and someone else could have been Hazard. That's crazy. He is not special. He is special in that he took the thing, but he's not doing anything with it. He's not doing anything with it in a way that says, this is Hazard's thing. That's all the input I have on his character design. You just need to swap out his face or something. Oh, never mind, I just remembered. His face is always in this, like, regular smile. He kind of says nothing with his face. Which is crazy for the guy who's supposed to be loud. Loud and obnoxious. He's supposed to be a punk. He's supposed to be a bully. He does nothing with his facial expression. He's like a discount junker. Which we already have. We have 3 junkers already. Why do we need this guy? They already had a character design to boot, and then they made another junker. A diet junker. It just makes no sense. So his character, he has no connections. Wow. Actually, he knows Ash, kinda.
You headed home after this, Haz?
Aye. I thought I'd bring Susie by the memorial.
Well, he claims to know Ash, or Ash claims to know him, and then, for some reason, they have an interaction where he acts like they just met.
Loving the bleached look. You do that yourself?
So, he has a retcon in the same update where he got development. Because Ash has had white hair her whole life. Definitely as long as she would have known him, at least. But suddenly he's like, whoa, white hair? No way. He stole Moira's thing. He hates Overwatch. Cool. So he could be with Talon. Nope, he hates Talon too.
You know, if you really wanted to commit to the whole spider bit, you'd get some extra legs.
That sounds horrifying.
Sure, like you aren't already a monster.
Or he hates Widowmaker specifically. Why? If he doesn't know her, then it's pretty freaking weird for his character to assume that she sucks. Even though we just heard a voice line about him having sympathy for criminals.
Aren't all us criminals softer than we say so?
And if he does know her, that's even worse. Because he would know that she's not in control. And he's berating her for something she has no control over. I thought he would have, I don't know, some actual ties to the characters. Unlike you know who, and you know who, and you know who, and you know who, and you know who. Like, maybe it could have something to do with Mondada. Like, maybe he's pro-Omnic rights or something. That would be funny though, considering he talks to almost none of the Omnics. So here comes the part that irks me the most. We have another character with no motivation. Nothing. He is the anarchist. That is it. And that is sad that we have stooped this low. Hazard is not nothing. He is disappointing. And that's worse than nothing. I don't know if that's better or worse, actually. It's in the same ballpark. He's just disappointing. He could have been something. As for this guy, just make him more rugged. Make him look scratched up. Make him look like he is in the fights that he always talks about. I want to see some scars. Just like a little scar on his face would be good enough, honestly. He has this stuff in his little cinematic thing already on his back and his arm. He already has the tech for the purple stuff that they clearly said they didn't know what it was gonna do.
We don't know what it might do to you.
They didn't know it was gonna put the spikes where the spikes go. Speaking of the spikes, we could have just had this arm completely for spikes. that would make the block make sense. As I said, the spikes on the back don't practically make any sense. They just kind of look cool. It could have, like, in the cinematic, it could have just blew up in his face and he covered himself with his arm. And bam, he's got a spike arm. Also, he treats it like a condition, but we never see the purple on him besides on the mechanical parts. There's no purple on his skin ever. It's not a condition. It's just like part of his machinery. His design is like actively fighting his character. It's such a mess. You're such a mess, and not a good mess. You could be a good mess. That's what I wanted you to be.
Dad, I'm in space. I'm proud of you, son.
Well, now we're getting into the realm of things I didn't write. So, Juno. Sorry, I wanted her to look like Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, as far as the Space Ranger idea goes, it's alright. She looks distinct. It was kind of obvious from the start why they made her. They weren't being slick. It's for marketability and skins.
Hello, I like money.
Nothing about her character says she would wear skin-tight suit. Like, at least Widowmaker is not supposed to be in the fight. She's supposed to be way off in the distance. Juno is supposed to be in the fight. Juno is in close proximity with the vacuum of space. This looks like it's not from the same game, if that makes sense. I suppose it's supposed to make sense because she's from Mars. She's not from Earth, so she's not going to look like an Earthling. They might not even have the same fashion. I don't know how long Martians have been a thing. And we'll get to the Martian thing, trust me. The helmet is cool. I think she looks cool. My only complaints with this is that it looks like it's for some kind of space game and not Overwatch. And that she is very young, because we always have to do this with the marketability and... Because, I mean, that's what Overwatch is mostly known for, unfortunately. Or fortunately. All things considered is keeping the game alive. But my problem with that is this was supposed to be a game about war? There's supposed to be a war going. Why aren't we getting more soldiers? We're getting more oddities than anything. Here is when I would like to remind the new writers that there was a ton of unused concepts that you could use now. You don't even have to use those concepts. You could just have, like, an heir, you know? Like someone to take up the mantle of one of those people who didn't want to answer the call. It's that simple to make a character. And all the old people would be like, "Oh, I knew your father back in the day. Have a caramel candy." But instead, we got Martian. Martians are real. This is a Martian. The problem with Martians being real is that all the stakes of Earth being threatened are kind of thrown aside for this Martian thing.
As long as we are shackled to a single planet, we are vulnerable.
There's a whole other world out there if Earth happens to come to an unfortunate end. Humanity will be fine. It's just that that planet will be ruled by Omnics. So, if the interactions are anything to go off of, Mars is fairly Omnic free. To add on to that, Ramatra isn't fighting for total global domination either. He's fighting for rights. He just wants rights. If international law declares Omnics as people, as sentient beings, yet you allow them to, in broad daylight, beat the life out of one, and send an EMP, basically an Omnic nuke, to their place of residence that they were chased into, the humans got what's coming to them. Hit him with a Roko's Basilisk, and then you can't argue against Ramatra at all. Because Martians exist in an Omnic-free location, Ramatra should win. That's the good ending to this story. Is the bad guy winning? Because Martians exist. Anyway, that's not even a Juno-specific thing. That's just a consequence of Juno's origin. It's not Juno's fault. But you could have just made her like part of a cleanup crew for orbiting machines. And that would have worked just as well. May's not particularly interesting, origin-wise. She went to Antarctica. It's a different frontier for most people, and that's good enough. You didn't need a whole new planet. A whole new planet where the main conflict of the story isn't happening. Heck, even barely a side conflict. It just sucks. It sucks from a storytelling perspective. And it kind of nullifies the whole impact of the moon colony as well. Like, all of this is not special anymore. This is just a little side project compared to what humanity has to offer. This used to be something big. Now it's kinda just a farm. For gorillas. They were doing Gorilla Rancher out here. We're just kind of spitting in Winston's face with this. Especially since she didn't work for this. She didn't work for all the gear she has, as far as I know. These were given to her by her father. She was given the mission by someone else, and she's made it clear in most of the interactions that she isn't even a capable fighter. She doesn't belong. She doesn't belong on Earth. She doesn't belong with the people around her. She doesn't belong in Overwatch. And that's why it feels weird that she's even here. And I guarantee you, in the story that they're never gonna finish, Mars had nothing to do with it. She has nothing to do with it. Because she has no stakes here. She has no connections besides May, and May barely has any connections. May is like the only Overwatch 1 character with almost no connections. We're just branching out to nowhere. Seeing what happens. Do something. Like anything. Earn your skins. How many skins do you have? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Earn your 9 legendaries and mythic. Do something. Please. Alright, I'm sorry. I'm very aware this is like only half of the new designs. I'm gonna have to cut it here because it's gonna take this poor little computer like 50 years to upload the full video. I'm not exactly working with like top of the line stuff here. As you can see from the quality of the game that I have to play on in order for it to survive. But I do hope you enjoyed what you saw and will stay tuned for the part 2. The whole video is complete already, so it's not going to take long, don't worry. But thank you for watching. I don't know how to end videos.